then.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Hello, Uganda! After bringing Kigali to its knees on energy ship to Nairobi, nothing brings out the true picture of a football derby like the Mijingo Derby. It's a derby that leaves many desiring for more. And oh yes! This is the time that the question that is frequently asked will be answered. If you own the water, we own the land. And all this will be sorted out on the 11th of November 2021 at the St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. Join us live on UBC TV free to air and radios as we bring you action after action as the two bulls fight and we sit back and relax at the comfort of our homes. UBC TV and radios, your home of sports.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
.30 on the dot. It is a brand new day and welcome to Thursday, 11th November 2021. A delightful day and also a historical day in Uganda. One step edging closer to World Cup. Is it possible? Well, I'll find out from my colleagues if Uganda Cranes can make it past Kenya as we have the home game today right here on home soil. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga and welcome to Good Morning Uganda. This is UBC and we are definitely enjoying the fact that it's a warm morning. It's not been raining lately, and Molen Kenyana will be explaining to us why it's not been raining. We are not seeing Senene. I don't know about my colleagues, but we are almost getting over with November, and the Senene are scarce. So Auntie Christine said it is because of Yaka. Felix Nkunda said because of what has been happening in Masaka Road, so they fear to cross Rera. I don't know, but we're yet to find out. Good morning to you, Robert Kirabo. And why are we not seeing Senene?
A lovely morning to you, Priscilla, and of course our darling viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Well, there's so much happening on social media why we aren't seeing in Senene, but since we're in the Innovation Week science, sometime back we had scientists say that they are going to be home bred, and they were moving towards ensuring that in Senene we have in and out of season in Senene. Maybe one day we shall wake up to that. But also I hear that the Masaka people have also decided not to ensure that they cross over. However, I saw some videos on social media that were indicating yes, in a few days they will be in Kampala and in plenty. Okay, all right. Felix Nkunda, good morning to you. And where is our Senene?
Good morning to you, Priscilla. How are you?
Very good.
How have you been?
Awesome.
You look awesome in your blazer.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, and speaking about Senene, there is this meme on social media when they asked, and the Masaka people, what now would do, are determined not to send Senene to Kampala because of you abused their one and only Rwasa, you laughed at him, and so you're paying for your sins. And also because of the Vijambia. Because we touched Omgaga Rwasa. That's the thing. Okay. So, but we will have Senene. For a fact, nature always comes by. regardless. Nature definitely comes by, so sooner or later we'll have Nsenene.
Hey, and
that is why I'm ending it by bringing in the person responsible for nature to explain to us, according to nature, why is this taking longer than expected. Molen Kenyana, welcome and good morning.
Yes, so good morning to you. Well, you guys, there is some good news. Guess what? There is actually Nsenene.
No, as in like there's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
like
so yesterday I was in Entebbe and there was this guy actually passing with Nsenene. I called the guy. I think maybe someone had probably called him on phone to hurry with the Nsenene. The guy never stopped. I wanted to get at it. But we're talking about climate change. So I guess this Nsenene also have reached a time where they're like, okay, guess what? This is no longer a good climate for us. This is not a good environment. I am yet to find a relationship between their habitat and climate change. Sure. This has a lot to do with the environment around us. And I wouldn't put it out of the way. But guess what? Let's just be patient. Maybe another time I will be lucky and catch the guy. Who knows?
But also locusts are along the way. I saw a tweet somewhere where they're saying that anytime we could have locust invasion in the country. So if they dare this time when Ugandans are craving for Nsenene, maybe they may not survive.
No, but and by the much of the alert on locusts is now going for Ethiopia and Somalia. They are already on high alert to fight those. So our hope is that they don't really cross over, because when they do, I don't know the math around that. It's going to be billions of money for fighting locusts. That is not something we want, especially now that our economy is struggling, really.
But why did they say people shouldn't eat them again?
No, people eat them.
They warned the people not to eat them. Reason being that we have carried out aerial spraying of these locusts. So you'd eat them, then they would have some chemicals.
The best for fighting these locusts, just people to eat
them, really.
People.
Yeah. No, but they're edible. It's only in Uganda that we don't eat them. In Congo, they're edible. In northern Africa, these are edibles. These are delicacies.
How about in Uganda? Do people really eat this?
But I know some people must have eaten those things.
I know, right?
By some people, do you have anyone here? Kirabo, did you test?
No, for me, when I hear anything has got a chemical, dangerous chemical, because government invested so much. Guys, government invested billions, on ensuring even hire those aerial spraying planes, so they weren't safe to eat. But I would have tried, because when I was in Zambia, I tested caterpillars and they were very okay. So testing locusts is nothing hard.
I didn't need to know that information.
We plead to you, please send some Nsenene to Kampala. Please, please. Okay, so you send for me, Priscilla and Nalwoga. The rest they can be okay.
I didn't say anything about us.
But me, I didn't say anything about us. Anyway, that is just far away from the morning. Just to lighten up your morning and get you to smile, exercise your facial muscles with some sort of happiness. It's good for your health and a start to your morning. But speaking of start to your mornings, in this particular hour, we get to have a recap of the stories that have actually taken over the 24 hours, both locally and internationally.
And we'll start with the closure of the Science Week that was at Koro Ceremonial Grounds, where His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, blessed the ceremony, where President Yoweri Museveni re-emphasized the need to motivate scientists and innovators by funding their projects, but also increasing remuneration to science government workers. President Museveni was officiating at the World Science Day at Kololo in Kampala.
The Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni, has urged higher institutions to transform from physical face-to-face methods of learning to the new normal of e-learning to catch up with the challenges and effects of COVID-19 in the education sector. This was at the 12th exhibition of students' innovations and launch of the virtual e-learning portal for universities and tertiary institutions, where the minister attended virtually.
And away from that, we look at improving service delivery, where over 200 officials from the Office of the Prime Minister have pitched camp at the National Leadership Center in Kyangwanzi to strategize for better service delivery and give visible accountability to the public for better transformation. Opening the retreat, the Prime Minister, Robert Nabanja, urged officials to move out of their comfort zones, go to the field, and do the needs assessment than wasting government resources with no results.
And finally, on our local scene, Minister for State for Higher Education, Dr. John Muyingo, has stressed the need for all teachers in Uganda to acquire a bachelor's degree as a requirement to teach in this modern era. Speaking at the first East African Teacher Education Conference at Makerere University, Muyingo said government has given those without bachelors but already in practice a period of 10 years to go back to study with immediate effect. Relatably, Makerere University and Chambogo University under the Kabut project have allocated funds to help teachers at bachelor's and PhD attain further education. The project, which is funded by the University of Bargain, will last for the period of 6 years and will focus on training teachers in mathematics, English and music. Our international stories.
Now, thousands of care homes staff to lose their jobs as mandatory COVID-19 vaccine deadline passes. Now, from Thursday, all care home workers in England must have been double jabbed unless they are medically exempted. Now, the latest NHS figures are expected to show more than 50,000 current staff have not had both their jabs. Now, from Thursday, all care home workers in England must have been double jabbed unless they are medically exempt, and officials in NHS came out to roll out to emphasize the same. Now, of these, several thousands are understood to have self-certified as medically exempt or to have applied for formal proof. Now, at least 25 killed as heavy rains hit Sri Lanka and southern India. Now, heavy rains on Sri Lanka coast and in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu have killed at least 25 people, destroyed thousands of homes, and strained traffic authorities also mentioned. Now, in Sri Lanka, 20 people have died in recent days, most from drowning, while 5 were hurt in landslides, officials also confirmed. Now, given the prevalence of COVID-19, the government has also encouraged over 1,000 families to move in with relatives to reduce their strain on COVID. Government-run centers now said the spokesperson of the Sri Lankan Disaster Management Center. Well, now back to Africa. South Africa to extradite Mozambican ex-finance minister to the US. A South African court has ruled that former Mozambican finance minister Manuel Chang should be extradited to the US, where he is wanted for alleged criminal offenses in relation to massive corruption and scandal. The High Court ruling reverses a decision by South African Justice Minister Ronald Lamola in August to transfer Chang to his home country. High Court Judge Margaret Victor said the court could not find the decision to be rational. However, civil society groups had opposed transferring Chang to Mozambique, fearing that he would not face prosecution.
And an update on COP, China and the US announced the deal to boost cooperation on climate change. Now, China and the US have agreed to boost climate cooperation over the next decade in a surprise announcement at COP26 Climate Summit in Glasgow. Now, the world's 2 biggest carbon dioxide emitters pledged to act in a joint declaration which says both will recall their firm commitments to work together to achieve the 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature goal set in 2015 Paris Agreement. Now, they called for step-up efforts to close the significant gap that remains to achieve that target. Scientists say that limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius will help humanity avoid the worst climate impacts. Now, this is compared to pre-industrial temperatures. At Paris in 2015, world leaders pledged to try to keep the world from warming well below 2 degrees Celsius through sweeping emission cuts. Now, China's top climate negotiator Xi Zhuan told reporters that on climate change there is more agreement between China and US than divergency. Now, the US President Joe Biden and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping are expected to hold a virtual meeting as early as next week. The two countries are seen as global rivals on a number of issues. However, on Wednesday's rare joint declaration, there were steps agreed on an arrangement of issues including methane emissions, the transition to clean energy, and also decarbonization. But China refuses to join an agreement earlier this week to limit methane, a harmful greenhouse gas. Now, the agreement was signed by nearly 100 other countries, and China has instead pledged to develop a national plan to address methane.
For that update, and now we get to let you know about what's the best thing you can make as a choice this morning.
And of course, that is ensuring you give your body what it needs that will prevent and empower it to fight a number of diseases. And look nowhere else. Hallelujah Reflexology have these two products for you. That is Hallelujah Ginger Tea and Hallelujah Turmeric Drink. Go to the nearest shop and get them. They'll greatly improve your health, but also ensure that the body has the capacity to fight various illnesses.
Okay, thank you so much, Robert Kirabo. Now, to just give you a hint on what to expect for Good Morning Uganda this Thursday morning, starting off with the very last thing that we do on this program, which is sports. We do have Felix Nkunda going to be giving us an update. What do we expect in the world of sports this morning?
Definitely. Today, everything is about Ugandan Cranes, and of course, we're playing one of our World Cup qualifying games against the Kenyan counterparts, and most recently it's been dubbed the Mijingo Island Derby. We've been dubbed the Mijingo Derby. We hope. And in the promo I had, I think, I don't know if it was, yeah, exactly. I had someone say, if you own the waters, if Kenya owns the water, we will definitely take charge of the land. And today the game will be at St. Mary's, and we can't wait to have this game, guys. We'll be having the game on UBC. That's the most important thing, by the way. Even if you don't choose to support, but just make sure you watch the game on UBC, and that will be kicking off at exactly 4 p.m. today. And definitely all the conversations around the country will be about that game. I don't expect any other. I know we have gonna have an insight into who's gonna start on the game, what's the tactical, all these are technical, what do we expect, what does this mean for us. Remember, we are second in the group ahead of our friends, Rwanda. We love them so much, but of course we give them the blood. Yeah, and also Molen told us he has a background in Tanzania. He said Tanzania.
East Africa, really.
She's in
She has Kenya in her name.
Mostly Kenya.
She's brown by Tanzanian birth.
Yeah, I'm from that Kenyan
and then
family.
She has his father was a neighbor to Rwandese. So the Kenyanas today we are going to. Well,
no, today I'm Uganda Cranes all the way, 100%.
Yeah, so basically, the jazz will be basically about Uganda Cranes, and we're looking up for the match. But most importantly, the match will be live on UBC. And for some of you who are free to air, Mwemuli de Mpanga.
Okay. All right. I want to find out what are these people's predictions this morning, so that when we are back here tomorrow, everyone is put to that. To explain as to how they thought that was all going to be possible. So, Felix Nkunda, what's your prediction of this match?
I think it will be a 2-0 for us. We'll win a 2-0. Kenya has not been so. Their team is not so good. Yeah. Okay. So I think it will be a 2-0 for us. Uganda in lead. All
right, Molen Kenyana, what is your prediction?
Well, I am thinking of 1-0 for Uganda. Of course, like Felix said, I think Kenya is not at its best right now. We will obviously get those 3 points. Definitely. But they are not a hard team to also just walk over. So I'm thinking they will be quite defensive.
Challenging, man. Yeah. We'll handle.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have Robert Kirabo here. Robert Kirabo, Uganda Cranes versus Kenya today, home game. What should you expect?
Definitely, I see victory for Uganda, and that is 2-1.
It was so optimistic.
Yes, 2-1. Kenya, if it does so much, it can get a 1. But I don't think it can get more than that.
Okay.
The boys seem to be on form, and of course with our prayers. And of course I know many sports lovers now that have the biblical strength. It is time to pray that that they see. So we have the victory there. But of course, it is very clear that I believe Uganda will prove to Kenya.
Okay.
Yes, so that we don't end in this usual mathematics. Now you'll be
calculator.
That confuses me.
All right. What do we have this morning on agenda?
This morning we want to look at the search for justice in this country. The search for justice in this country. There is a case that is ongoing and is reflecting a lot of things. So that is what we are going to be discussing.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Well, we're definitely having a lot more geared and lined up for Good Morning Uganda this morning as we get into a poll question. Also, we do have a traffic update that we are going to be sharing with you on our traffic this morning. We're going to be talking about the Kampala-Entebbe Express Highway and the toll system that is up and coming. Our guest is Alan Sempewa, and he's going to be coming from UNRA to give us more insight and educate us more, so that we are very knowledgeable getting into this new system of road networking and also supporting the country and the government in paying back the debt that we have that was used to construct this particular road network. Also in our newsreel this morning, we're going to be looking at the Science Innovation Week. We did have the president yesterday launching it officially. There's some very interesting things that have come out, and Ugandans at large are thinking and creating new innovations here and there. There were so many cars that were displayed and assembled from Uganda, engines and everything made in Uganda. So basically, where does this leave Build Uganda by Uganda? That's a very big question, which leads to our poll question this morning.
And that will be, in which ways can government increase support to science and innovation? In which ways can the Ugandan government increase support for science and innovation? Well, be able to also share with us on our social media platforms, and majorly that will be Twitter, #UBCGMU, and for those on WhatsApp, 0709 60 25 92, and with the same number you can also send an SMS. But also for some of you who are following us on YouTube, be kind to leave a message in regard to our poll question.
All right, and also, what's your prediction? Uganda Cranes versus Kenya Harambee Stars this evening at exactly 4 p.m. It's going down. Now, the entire team here has given the 3 points to Team Uganda. Who are you giving your 3 points? What is your prediction? Send us your prediction on the WhatsApp line, and so that together we can refer back and say, hey, Richard, you sent us a message here.
If they dare.
In fact, it's better said in Luganda. There's some things you don't say in English. Like, have you heard when you're having an argument with someone and someone goes, because
okay.
Yeah, but anyway, I do must remind all of our viewers that the game will be on UBC and of course Star TV at exactly 4 p.m. So for all of you who you can get the game in the comfort of your homes, the comfort of your office, the comfort of your taxi, or on your tuk-tuk. But anyway, and of course on Star TV we'll be having the game translated in Uganda, and we'll be having the experts there giving us, of course, the analysis as they will be unfolding. And of course here on UBC we'll be having the team here again, the likes of the John Barnes, the Otai, the Fifis, and of course the team, the big team behind sports here.
Well, the road to Qatar 2022. Ruben Pima Chivirango will be here to give us more of those details. Allow us to take a short commercial break, leave you with the song for the day, and let's find you in our 7 o'clock hour. Good morning. a.m. sharp, and it's Thursday, the 11th of November 2021. While everyone is getting their vuvuzela and getting ready for Uganda Cranes kick-off this evening at 4 p.m. against Kenya Harambee Stars, we here in Good Morning Uganda kick-starting off your day in a direction that will be informative, educative, and also allows you to engage in discussion. Our newsreel is here. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga alongside Felix Nkunda and Robert Kirabo. But as we get into this conversation for the morning, allow us to give you a recap into our daily poll.
And our poll question is: in which ways can the government, can the Ugandan government increase support for science and innovation? In which ways can the Ugandan government increase support for science and innovation? Well, of course, share with us on our Twitter, that is #UBCGMU, and on WhatsApp 0709 60 25 92.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Felix Nkunda. This morning we are talking about promoting science and innovation as a focal point. And we get to look at something that is very interesting. This week we've been having the National Science Innovations Week that has been running starting from Monday. And the good news is that yesterday we had the President, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, coming through and officiating this particular celebrations, because yesterday, 10th November, is known as the World Science Day for Peace and Development. And so the President was officiating this at the National Science and Innovations Week in Kololo. And of course, he was urging scientists to use the innovation to support import substitution and also support export promotion through value addition. That is where we're going to be centering our conversation today. As we know, one of the things that have been greatly supported ever since COVID-19 hit the world as well as Uganda is innovations as far as science is concerned. In no split second, we had a vaccine that would be able to manage COVID-19. That is science and innovation. But the countries that were able to develop these vaccines in the shortest time possible to counter the pressure of the vaccine and how many people it was killing was because of funding, support, incentives that have been put there in those different countries to be able to handle such things in real time. Bring it back to third world countries, Africa at large. We are still struggling in the fight against COVID-19, among other things, diseases, innovations, and creations for that matter, by and large, simply because of the absenteeism of incentives and things like that that do enable and nurture an environment that can be good and conducive for people to come up not just with creations but also have them supported, implemented, and actually consumed by the greater society, which is where we are embedding our question this morning. In a third world country, Felix, where do we see the use of science and its innovations in pushing us to possibly first world class?
Yeah, well, of course, consistently the President of Uganda has come out to echo the purpose and the greater need for us to do embrace science. And the same is anchored in the fact that it is only from that sort of angle or that sort of line that you may have a solution-based approach to all the problems. You may find it hard to find solution-based issues in terms of theoretical approach, but rather into scientific for that matter. And no wonder, for all the challenges that we have faced, you find that they have a direct relationship with the sciences. And it doesn't fall far from the discussion of innovation in the same way. If I may just take you back a couple of years ago when we had challenges of mobility. There was a time in this country where some places were not accessible. And it had to take people who appreciate sciences to be able to come out with remedies. A couple of days ago, we hosted a gentleman from Karangala, that is infrastructure services, and was telling us of how tremendous work they have done in terms of pipe water, transport, and the ferry and what. And all these things speak into innovation. A couple of days, I think months ago, we hosted someone from Badaye something, and they're trying to share with us what kind of innovation they came up with in terms of COVID. If you know, as a matter of fact, that other countries have moved into robotic usage in times of COVID, And all
Our
these
neighbors Rwanda have actually
yes,
adopted
it's something they tried it out. Yeah,
innovation. Yes.
China is no longer has reduced tremendously the contact in terms of banking, in terms of market, in terms of supermarket. All these work directly towards the aspect of innovation and science. And for us to be appreciating it day by day is quite promising, because if you are able to tell and look at what was exhibited, you find that there's a great milestone that we are moving. Imagine if Uganda is manufacturing cars today in 2021. If you're able to manufacture cars and we have them on the market, we're able to manufacture bicycles, able to manufacture motorcycles, all these. Now also that means that the growth of innovation, science and innovation, is a direct directly related to the reduction of imports. Now, every time we reduce on what we import, but rather increase on what we are able to export, it directly also speaks into our revenue in terms of welfare also for our people. So with that kind of approach, you may not want to take lightly the ability of science and innovation, and probably that later on explains why the president continuously is urging that scientists must be taken recognition of. Just briefly also what used to happen in times of COVID, if you remember well. In particular areas of this country, the only people who would be relied upon would be the people who are able to execute scientific approaches. For example, like those who would be able to assist in medication, prescription, even treating. Because remember, we had a challenge of neglecting other, what is it called, other diseases, and all focus was on that. But remember, we had a whole country to run in terms of agriculture, in terms of tourism, in terms of all these other things. So when we increase innovation as a country, one, we are safeguarding ourselves and at least also building capacity. Secondly, because I saw people exhibiting, I saw mills, I saw machines that are used to grind groundnuts, sugar cane and what. Now that also works into promoting our backbone, which is agriculture. So when you look at all these things that were happening yesterday and what have been happening before, you had Makerere come in to talk about the innovator, I think a testing kit. So all these things, they have greatly, they greatly yield to development. And development, for that matter, reduces our dependency burden. And I think this informs why the president again emphasizes this, that the more we are able to create solutions for our own problems, because if the problem for people who are in farming is, let's say, value addition, and people come out to create machines that add value to some of these things, we are solving a problem. Now that means that if we have been selling coffee to whoever in its raw form, we'll be able to add value to it. And so it's a solution-based approach when we do boost science and innovation.
Okay. Well, speaking of boosting science and innovation and how all this conversation and this particular innovation comes into play, it was against the background regarding the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation as far as persistent functional duplications were, that we had the birth portfolio of science and technology innovation, and it was placed under the office of the president, and currently it is under the direct management of Dr. Monica Musenero, who is in charge and Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation under the office of the president. Now, of course, this is birthing the docket of science, technology and innovations as far as funding is concerned. And we get to look at the president yesterday making a statement and saying that other people have been making money from diseases through developing medicines and vaccines, while Africa has been losing money on that very same account, because for them they do importation than exportation. How shall we develop is the question from this innovation week, and you know, bringing in all these incentives that can attract innovation in science.
Thank you, Priscilla. I think one of the other issues, yes, the president talked about diseases where people have been making medicines, but also we must also, there's other angle in terms of security, how science and innovation works, that also others have been making lots of monies because of science, innovation, and having this weaponry that we are buying very expensively. For example, the United States of America you'll find that they may not have so much that they are selling out, unless if you look at the armory that they are selling, that is giving them a lot of money. Think of a country that is Russia, where the AK-47 was made. You see that this is a gun that has sold years and years. So even in terms of security, these big countries are sometimes getting things even they want worth to get because of science. That people will come to them, we need weaponry, and then they will make assessment, what are you giving us, what are we taking, all that. But away from that, back to Uganda. When we talk about how best we can ensure that we motivate, we bring the best out of our people in terms of science and innovation. First, I want to divide this in two categories. We have the trained, the expert scientists, those that have the exposures. They have been to Makerere, they have been to Chambogo, they have been to these institutions. They read globally, they have knowledge they got from class, and they're just building on this. The ones that build apps, the ones maybe that are coming up with some engines. Then we have those in the informal sector. I don't know if you know what they call it, Chibugacho Muduga. That is Katwe. When you go to this part of this country, you're going to see young men who look at a gate that has been imported into this country, then will just in about 1 hour find materials homemade and give you that very gate. There was a car, I think it was from the Kaida something, that has Uganda, one Uganda, that yellow. So you see, so how do we address these two groups? You have those that I've talked about, the educated, then these guys that you can't tell, but they're able to do magic. They just assemble machines, they don't know that this is even a pulley, they just know this will roll this, then when I put on this and come up with that. So first and foremost, finances. That many of these innovations, science is expensive because of sometimes the components you need. So do we have a specific fund that where a person who has the brains and is maybe dreaming of coming up with something that is a solution to maybe a way of irrigation can go and borrow or get this money, execute and come up with what they want to do? That is one. Second, and very importantly, knowledge. Some of these people just need more exposure. How do we give them the knowledge that they don't have right now? Recently, I was very happy with government when they came up with ensuring that even a person who has skills, say a mechanic or anything, can go and undergo training, then they are certified to a certain level, from certificate then to diploma. But they improve on these skills. So we need to empower them with knowledge. Some of these knowledge gaps, give them the finances that are needed, empower them with knowledge, but also importantly, we need to protect what they do. There is so much that is being done in this country, but then you find that the developed world comes and partakes of it because you don't have rights, and these young people, their knowledge, their ideas tend not to benefit them so much. Okay. So how do we protect these innovations that they come up with? And if we do that, I highly believe, also encourage Ugandans to buy what is made by these people. Priscilla, if I get an automatic gate, this is that roll themselves, if it's made in Uganda, and then we still have this mentality, and this is what is hindering these boys, that one will look at maybe a grinder that is made by Ugandan and may kind of doubt, we think something that has come from China does better. So if we change this mentality,
it may not be the fact that it does better, but also you look at the cost, of having some of these innovations as incentives to build other innovations through science. It could be that the ones that are imported are much cheaper than the ones that are actually made in Uganda, which gives you a gap of investment, and how exactly the country, the government, and the particular agencies are supporting these innovations to be equally as attractive and affordable by Ugandans, because it's not really that it does any better. But he has touched a very good conversation, and which has always been a debate. How do you protect these creations that people are having, both formally and informally, especially for the informal sector? The patent right, the question of the copyrights, the education of it and its necessity in them having their science, their innovations put out there and later on converted into consumable or sellable, to that matter, for not just Ugandan market, but the African market. Why not even the European market? So in that regard, Felix, what should be done?
Well, of course, the land of the soil does provide for acceptance in terms of protecting intellectual property and innovations, and that is taken through the folds of copyright, patents, trademarks, just to mention but a few. Now, even on top of that, the introduction of the Uganda Registration Service Bureau, which is also one of them, the Uganda Investment Authority, these are all agencies that have been put in the same line to assist innovators and people who are who have come up with anything good in terms of development and in terms of investment for that matter. In fact, there are even various funds to support that I know as a matter of fact, again. Now, you see, my brother has folded it into the informal scientists and the formal scientists, if I may call them. But in the discussions that must be put to plate, we must bitterly discuss the concept of away from just protection and away from just support, but also we must motivate some of these people. Like they bring in place of Bubu per se is a good catchment, but do we have what we call quality control? Because the intention would later on not only just be, because after you've patented, you've protected, and you have quality control. I have been a victim of some of the challenges that we get when we use locally made. For example, when you go and purchase a door, let's say a door, a metallic door that has been imported, say from Italy or China or where, and you go and ask a young man to weld a door for you here, clearly you see a very, very, very big difference. And that's a matter of fact. Now, if the intention, as we said earlier, is to, because it is not good enough for us to do all these other things well. You may patent, you may what, you go through the process to register. But if your goods do not satisfy or meet the market demand in terms of satisfying the consumers, that's why we have stalled. And as Robert said, there are people who are in Katwe, Ndeva, Chisenyi, who are doing tremendous things. But because what we call quality control, that we must have an institution that comes out to guarantee quality. And that will take training and also equipment. You must train them because, as you said, most of them are informal guys. He came here to assist in a welding garage. Yes, jamu garage miaka kumi katinaye akanika. They hardly know that, even they don't know how to talk to someone. In as much as, you know, because all these things work together. Customer care is key and parcel. Came up with the Director of Industrial Training. Yes, that is yes. The government of Uganda came up with that. That helps. But the truth of the matter is that, are they doing what they should be doing? When do they approach this? Are they attracting are they on right target groups? Yes, exactly. Yes. Are they meeting the right people? Because talking about science, innovation is not good enough. There are other things that, what we call enabling factors. In as much as we shall innovate and have everything good, but there are other things. Because if we intend to sell our products, let's say to a market in UK, to the Dutch, to Israel, are very good. There are good farmers out there. Do we have this person making this whatever machinery, being able to liaise with such a community, the target community? Okay, let's start even locally. Where do they sell Ugandan? Do we have organized markets? Let's say today I see all over people making these popcorn machines, groundnuts grinding machines, sugarcane. But do we have organized markets? Unless if you don't pass in Deva and in the street you see, hey, that's not the way to go. We are not getting value for the input we are talking about. We need to organize these people. We put them into, even if we have to get them a particular place, Namamve is an industrial place, we can get them their space and tell them, guys, people who are doing these innovations in terms of machinery, in terms of what this is your space, you have a showroom. Now, adding value to the work they do is what they need. Not saying that they're like, it's not enough for us to just talk about them and say,
and what you say is good, because if you add value, then that means the product is going to be value addition and
Definitely.
attractive to even markets beyond, which then comes back to benefit the economy of the country.
Just for example, Robert, if you look, if like I've been to Ndeba, I'm always there trying to. Now, these guys will use what they have, like Robert said. They'll get a bicycle chain. Yes, they get a bicycle chain and they will use it in production. Now, yet there's an alternative to that.
I think, Felix, what you're talking about looks it in two ways. One, financing them. That most of the times these guys will tell you, if I had money and maybe I bought this component, put it with this component, I would have something more smarter and more effective.
Okay, so if I had the money, but we all know that the government has done its very best in providing, such incentives, especially as far as financing is concerned. We have the Myoga, we do have the Uganda Development Bank that is through that we are getting funding.
Sorry to interject you
Even government directly is putting in funds to some of these things. So maybe extent, the bureaucracy of people actually getting to benefit from these fundings is what is limiting them.
The fund is as good as useless.
If it's not accessible.
Because that is what I wanted to bring home, that when government talks about injecting these monies, most of the times the bureaucracy is the problem, and the informal sector shun, because they may not
be scared of the red tape.
They don't
write a proposal. Now someone who doesn't even know how to write their name doesn't write a proposal, bring sureties. What is your birth certificate? When did you come? When did you start? Who did you consult? Then they talk about bring your consultants.
It
who
has
did you
to be a registered
consult?
company, some of these things. So I think that is where we have.
But you see, if we don't go in this direction, then how do we expect to then develop in science and innovation if we cannot do the small basics? The purpose of, and allow me to say this, the purpose as to why these processes are there is that they streamline and get the best to benefit from the fund. The fund is not just for anyone. The fund is for those that are eligible, and there must be a criteria of eligibility.
Then no one will use
so
the
that
fund.
We can be able to get the people who are doing things right. Now, if our Nalwoga comes in, I don't know how to write a proposal, I don't do bookkeeping, it make a small business.
Priscilla.
It shouldn't be a disadvantage, but it should be an eye-opener for this person to actually then start implementing these things so that they are best qualified for the next funding.
I beg to differ on that. Reason being that for any country, you must understand how you get your target audience, see their challenges and how you improve them. That is why you see that government has come up with a number of initiatives.
But are we going to improve them by coming down to their level, or they must come up to the level of standards?
No, you see, countries like China, countries like Singapore understood who their core people are going to be in technology and how best they would meet them. For example, government has had different series or different projects, and every time they have tried to revise the standards to make sure they suit the people. Look at now you're having the Parish Development Model. Why government? So that we need to extend this closer to the people. So how do we simplify, how do we ease these bottlenecks that are hindering these people from getting that? How are you going to ensure that you go to, like, people of Katwe? How are you going to approach them? Yes, the Priscillas, the Felixes who did sciences at university now are maybe professors. They know how to get this money. So how do you factor in even this other group that also has to go for this issue? So give them the finances, give them the knowledge, and I believe they will be able to innovate, and we shall end up reducing on our imports and promoting our exports.
Actually, Robert, if you when you go to the exhibition that was in Kololo, honestly, until you tell me how many of the things that were exhibited that were done by professors, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked that you have at least you may find that 40% was contributed by what you want to call the informal sector. The people who can't do proposals, the people who can't do all these things. You know, guys who fix all our problems at home. Starting from your car in a garage, go to your plumbing, go to your even building in this country. That is all part of science. Guys who come and come up with these new fashions. When the architects actually fail, the people on ground, the builders will tell you, no. Now, you must be able to have an inclusive approach for both the people we want to call formal and the informal. And the simple reason is that what you want out of them is the most important thing. How do you make what they do formal if you can't make them formal?
Okay, all right. Well, it's a big discussion, but at the end of the day, the president was simply saying that we must find a way to support substitution of import as well as export promotion through science and innovation, and that is the embedment of this conversation. You can still send us your comments, your views and your opinions, and on our WhatsApp line. We will be reading them equally on Twitter at UBCTV Uganda, but also today, Uganda Cranes versus Kenya. What is your prediction? Who is going to be walking away with the 3 points from the what? Mijingo what?
We are going to Mijingolaize these Kenyans. They say they own the waters and we own the land. So since the game is on the land, we will take charge of that.
The good news is that even if the fish is in the water, it still has to come to the land.
It has to be eaten on the land. And you know, we have been having issues with fish, so don't talk about it.
Don't bring that before the game is done.
Okay. All right. Get ready. You get your Mputa ready for the 3-point celebrations. But we also do have an exclusive with UNRA, and we do have Alan Sentebo, who's coming to join us this morning to talk about the Entebbe Express Highway and the new toll system. We must understand these things to the nitty-gritty so that we can adhere in helping government pay off our debts. In the traffic update, continue with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Uganda Cranes national football team soars higher yet again to qualify for the much-anticipated World Cup in Qatar 2022 with a game against Kenya. Support our boys from the comfort of your home with friends and family as Uganda takes on Kenya on 11th November at St. Mary's Chitende Stadium starting 4 p.m. Uganda Cranes Paka Qatar with Airtel, the official sponsor of the Uganda Cranes football team. After bringing Kigali to its knees on energy shift to Nairobi, nothing brings out the true picture of a football derby like the Mijingo Derby. It's a derby that leaves many desiring for more. And oh yes, this is the time that the question that is frequently asked will be answered. If you own the water, we own the land. And all this will be sorted out on the 11th of November 2021 at the St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. Join us live on UBC TV free to air and radios as we bring you action after action as the two bulls fight and we sit back and relax at the comfort of our homes. UBC TV and radios, your home of sports.
Kagalino twalekedde ekyatulese tuzze tukalanga enfunda eziwererako ddala eno ye GoTV Super ey'abakaguje njagala weekaani ewatali kwemamaaza olwo tuba tusimbudde ne GoTV Super Duper waawawa era nga bakutuusaako ekiga ekyabakabejja abasajja eŋŋwaŋŋuli kwogata ne busineema obujjudde omuhabati ku 5,015 waawawa soka bulaza weefunye ekirungo kya GoTV Super ekijjudde obulungi ove mu baaje.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, we spice up your mornings with relevant information and a few smiles there. It is time now we look at what is trending in the print media. I have the New Vision, Felix has the Daily Nation and the Daily Monitor. While government to cut internet rates for education. and this was an assurance, and so soon education institutions will have cheaper internet. Then Museveni opened Science Innovations Week, something we've just been discussing here, but also tribute to Budoz Bakamale, who passed on yesterday at Mulago Hospital yesterday morning. Then there is a series of African education before Western influence. The New Vision brings you that. Then also we'll look at, that is a 1950s Crane's national hero cries out for help. Who is that? The Vision gives you more of that. We also look at, that's the education column, Pass O Level, the Senior 3 English, Entrepreneurship, ICT plus Senior 2 Physics and Mathematics. But also still looking at the New Vision, there are over 300 tenders for you there. But also in the fight against corruption, here we see Uganda Railways boss held over locomotive deal.
Now in the Daily Monitor, Ubos boss has interdicted over corruption claims, and of course Janet demands vaccine centers at universities, and new PS clips account General's wings on staff. Now Museveni defends Musenero over corruption allegations. And still in the Daily Monitor, Kisoro pair in sex video sentenced to 30 months, and my life is in danger, says Malende, Mrs. Shami Malende. And of course also a religious war breaks out there. That is today in history in 1888. That is religious war breaking out, and also First World War ends in November 1918.
And looking at COVID-19 tracker for Uganda, new confirmed cases at 70, then positivity rate at 1.5, death 1. Total death registered so far, 3,231 people have died of COVID-19. Go for that jab to save a life. We look at today in history, where it was on this date, the 11th of November, the year 2002, when Greenland Tower buyers failed to show up. But also on the same date, on the international scene, the Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat passed on.
Now in sports, one chance, one shot for Cranes. Of course, that is Namolonge Club looks to grow with Equity Narrow Open, and 2022 World Cup qualifiers quick dash. England could qualify for Qatar with victories over Albania and San Marino this weekend. But still also 400 million pass for Open, and Brandon returns for Silverback World Cup preps, and of course Revita Kakoza forcing Micho's hand for roll.
Looking at the New Vision, Sport Kasigwa cries for help and ready to hit Kenya. That is our national coach. Lovely picture of him there, really posing in a way of victory. We hope we get that. But also they give you more on the 4th of the 5th part series of Mandela, and that is no other team but Villa.
Now in the Daily Nation as well, we'll be looking at a Lista DP file now in Gicheru case, meaning matter could be revised if lawyer is found guilty. Now questionable PhD breaking through international Bible University doesn't. Now of course also Abako Shoka for Uhuru Ruto Raila, and of course a breakdown of the same approach. Now much of that is what you'll be getting from the papers when you get yourself the black and white. Get more of these stories when you get yourself copies of the Daily Monitor, Daily Nation, and of course the New Vision. Now we'll take a break, and when we'll be back, Priscilla will be taking us through the traffic updates. But of course before that, let's take you again through our poll question, where we expect you to give us a comment. Now, in which ways can Ugandan government increase support for science and innovation? Hit our social media platforms, but also our WhatsApp number, which will be running on your screen.
The Uganda
Cranes national football team soars higher yet again to qualify for the much-anticipated World Cup in Qatar 2022 with a game against Kenya. Support our boys from the comfort of your home with friends and family as Uganda takes on Kenya on 11th November at St. Mary's Chitenda Stadium starting 4 p.m. Uganda Cranes Paka Qatar with Airtel, the official sponsor of the Uganda Cranes football team.
After bringing Kigali to its knees on energy ship to Nairobi, nothing brings out the true picture of a football derby like the Mijingo Derby. It's a derby that leaves many desiring for more. And oh yes, this is the time that the question that is frequently asked will be answered. If you own the water, we own the land. And all this will be sorted out on the 11th of November 2021 at the St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. Join us live on UBC TV free to air and radios as we bring you action after action as the two bulls fight and we sit back and relax at the comfort of our homes. UBC TV and radios, your home of sports.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by was brought to you by
Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go. MTN.
Kaganino twalekedde ekyatulese tuzze tukalanga enfunda eziwerako ddala eno yego TV Super ey'abakaguje njagala weekaanyi ewatali kwemamaaza olwo tuba tusimbudde ne Go TV Super dupa waawawa era nga bakutuusaako ekiga ekyabakabejja abasajja eŋŋwaŋŋuli kwogata ne busineema obujjudde omuhabati ku 5,015 waawawa soka bulaza weefunye ekirungo kya Go TV Super ekijjudde obulungi ove mu baaje.
Introducing Learn From Home Data Bundles. Customized bundles for you and your family to study or work seamlessly from the comfort of your home. Use any of these affordable data bundles to connect to your MiFi, routers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones while avoiding unwanted internet exposure and ensuring undivided attention during online classes. Enjoy instant access to Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and selected educational websites. Dial *175# to buy your Learn From Home bundle today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Terms and conditions apply.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning to you once again, and this is a traffic update on Good Morning Uganda. We get to do what we always do, giving you a sneak peek into what different routes are looking like every morning so that you can make a best informed decision. And best informed decision is going to be picking it up from Chibuye roundabout, where we are experiencing traffic jam that is coming in from different entry and outlet routes of Chibuye roundabout. You do have Katwe that is taking out traffic from either Entebbe Road or the likes of Ndeva into downtown Kampala, and it is having just traffic up until a few places, and then thereafter it looks clear. Queensway, obviously, because it's morning, everyone is heading to the heart of the city, then getting away from the heart of the city, indicating less traffic on Queensway. However, surprisingly, there's red lines for both traffic to Mobutu Road and away from Mobutu Road this morning, matching the area code, and that is definitely a lot of traffic. A few potholes here and there could be influencing double lines, and also these other feeder roads that are bringing in traffic, especially Juko Road. People use it to connect from the residential areas and then connect to the Chiwe roundabout, which affects the flow of traffic every single morning. Obviously, interaction around the entire roundabout is hectic this morning with red lines. The areas of Ndeba are also indicating clear traffic that is to and from. Today is Thursday, not market day, but obviously it's a trade route because it is directly coming in from Masaka. You also do have a connection route around the Lubiri Ring Road, around Zing Zing Furniture, that is indicating red lines, meaning that people that were trying to avoid the Ndeba roundabout are actually using the Ring Road and trying to enter Chibuye roundabout through this particular junction. However, because of the market and the non-motion traffic on the Chibuye roundabout, and that is exactly why we are seeing a red line of non-moving traffic on the roads. Now, on Entebbe Road, one of the very many conversations we've been having over the couple of days is the Entebbe Express Highway and the new toll system that was released in terms of how much Ugandans are going to have to pay, contributing to the debt burden that was costing us to actually get such a nice fancy road in that part of Entebbe, connecting different parts of the city and the metropolitan area. Under UNRA, it's being managed, and we did have the Minister of Transport and Works, and that is General Katumba Wamala, last week coming out and giving us more insights and details on the toll system and exactly how much we are going to be paying and any other benefits that could come through here. So we do have a voice from UNRA that we have invited here on Good Morning Uganda to know exactly what the details are, and so that you get to be informed about the toll system and how exactly you can enjoy the Entebbe Express Highway. I know many of us have been seeing it as a bad thing. Why are they making us pay? That's too much money. However, yet on the other side, it's a benefit. It's not a disadvantage. It is to our advantages, and one of the advantages is that we get to enjoy so many services in that regard at the cost of 3,000 shillings, 5,000 shillings, 15,000 shillings, 18,000 shillings. I think that's money that is affordable. Joining me for this conversation is Alan Sempebwa, who is the Media Relations Manager with UNRA. Good morning to you, Alan.
Good morning, Priscilla.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for making the time to come and clear the air for Ugandans.
Thank you very much.
So first of all, we want to know, what is the toll system that we are seeing on the Entebbe Express Highway?
Okay. Thank you very much, Priscilla. The tolling system is a new arrangement in Uganda, and we are implementing it on the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. Quite new for Ugandans. For those who have actually traveled elsewhere, have seen this concept work out. It's very fast, where Ugandans actually will be paying out some little fees to access the services on the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, but also use it for its several other numerous benefits, including reduced travel time, there are free emergency services, less stress. You know, you use the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, and you know you will seamlessly leave your place to your destination safely at no hassle. But also enjoying the fresh air. You know, we put beautiful trees on that road, and you can actually enjoy until you reach your destination. So this is why we're actually going to toll this road, or actually why we're tolling the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway in particular.
Okay, all right. So how much are we going to be paying? I know there are discounts. I've heard that there will be cards, and how shall people be accessing all these?
Yeah. The Minister of Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Wamala, about 2 weeks ago, told the nation the different prices or toll rates, including starting with the motorcycles. Yeah, the 400 cc, paying 3,000 shillings. Then small cars, 5,000, and then down to the other medium and larger vehicles, paying different couple of other rates. But also, these will be discounted. And I think it would be better if we actually go for the discounted rates, because if using a regular card without a discount, or if you regularly use the road, you probably have the 10% discount for a regular card user or electronic card user. And we also have those who frequently use the road, say weekly. We'll have the weekly regular user as well, and then the monthly. For the weekly, you'll be topped up with about 14 trips, you know, and you know you're paying every trip. So meaning for a light vehicle, you're paying 5,000 per trip. And going and coming back, that is 10,000. So, but with the discount, meaning you'll actually be paying, instead of 5,000, you'll be paying 2,500. Yeah, but also you get to enjoy the numerous services, the benefits, free of charge.
Okay.
We want to light that road. One of the biggest concerns on the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway has been the lack of lighting, that the road is not lit and therefore not safe.
But honestly, Alan, wasn't that part of the, what was agreed upon by the service providers who actually put up this road? Were they not supposed to do these things?
It was in the earlier contract.
Okay.
We've only actually had, we're trying to implement it in this new contract.
Okay.
So the contract on board the farm called Aegis, a French farm which is in Uganda, is actually going to install lights. In fact, they're already working out the different zones and areas where lighting will be installed.
Okay.
But they have also deployed security. Very important,
because
by the way.
That's even most important.
Yes.
Away from the light, the security. So many people have lost their lives.
Very
on
important.
This Entebbe
Very
Express
important.
Highway.
So you're sure that when you leave Kampala at 7 or around the curfew time, later when even curfew is relaxed, you'll actually use the Entebbe Expressway with no.
So
with no
what
hassle.
does this security? How is it going to look like exactly? Is it going to be CCTV cameras? Are they going to be boots on ground at some particular hotspots? What is it going to look like exactly?
Okay, part of security will be regular patrols, and these are already running. I don't know if you've used the expressway, you would have seen the different pickups making routine patrols. Yeah, and also when you call the toll-free line 0800 270 170, they will actually come to you, to your rescue or any evacuation if necessary.
How do they come to you? Because there's no way a car can cross over to the other side of the lane. So how does that work in terms of rescue?
In terms of rescue is when you call the toll-free line, again I will say it's 0800 270 170. The people manning will actually hand over this call to the incident operators, who will then run to the site. And we want to assure Ugandans that in not more than 10 minutes you will have somebody attending to you.
Okay.
So on either side of the road, because that's actually their duty, to actually be on the road and on standby 24/7, so that Ugandans are guaranteed of security while they use the Entebbe Expressway.
What other services can Ugandans expect to enjoy on this Entebbe Express Highway with the toll system?
I think one of them is cost savings. The cost savings that comes with reduced travel time, that you can now leave Entebbe to Kampala in less than 30 minutes. Previously, journey of 2 hours and beyond. But now you actually leave, you can actually leave your home or wherever you're heading in a reduced travel time.
Okay.
So that in a way even improves on your productivity, because we lose so much productivity time in jams, in hassles, in traffic congestion. With the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, you're sure that vehicles are moving. First of all, there are no stages, so there will be no border this side interrupting you or a taxi stopping to lift passengers. It is all seamless and all through. So you're guaranteed that you will actually move safely and reach your destination on time.
We've had cars breaking down on the Entebbe Express Highway. It's cumbersome to get any help. Toll services is a question mark. Ambulances services question mark. Any other benefits we can get in that line?
Yes, you now quite guaranteed that when you have an incident, say your car breaks down, there will be somebody attending to you. There will be a tow truck coming to pick your vehicle. Put it on the side until maybe your mechanic comes and attends to it, or take it to a safest area where you can actually have it worked on. So that is now guaranteed. Previously it wasn't, and it's not actually on any other roads, but actually the Entebbe Expressway. So which is why government is saying, let us actually have a situation where people can actually pay something and they have all these services free of charge, you know. And those actually who may not be able to, government has actually put money into the maintenance of the old Kampala-Entebbe road. If you've noticed from Mpala to Chibuye, there are works ongoing to try and improve the standard of that road and maintain it.
All right. So you're committing to us that Ugandans are going to be enjoying toll services on the Entebbe Express Highway. You're going to be having ambulance services on the Express Highway. Incident management is going to be something that's going to be well handled on the Entebbe Express Highway. Now, we also do have road safety tips for you. First of all, keep left. You can only use the right lane to overtake and maintain a safe distance from the other vehicles, as well as drive within within the speed limits, but then it begs the question, when it comes to the routes that, the diversionary routes, there's no signage. The signage is like 2-3 meters before the diversionary route. Now someone's mind decoding and remembering, this is the one that's going to Kampala, this one continues. Yeah, why don't you put signage at the diversionary routes?
Okay, one of the contract requirements for the new contract on board is to install added signage, especially safety signage on this Kampala Entebbe Expressway. So we hope we'll actually address that in addition to what we have at the moment. Yeah, but it's also important, you talked about the safety tips, it's important that we adhere to the rules of the road. We're actually told keep left unless overtaking, but also ensure that you're running within or 100 kilometers per hour. People actually want to speed beyond that, and we've had incidents. Also, when you're approaching the toll booth or gates, there's a signage telling you to go up to 20 kilometers per hour, and some people actually want to come beyond that. So what has actually happened is they've actually damaged the assets or even collided with other vehicles. So let's exercise patience, especially when we're getting to the toll gates, allow actually smooth flow and avoid incidents. It's very, very important.
All right, Alan Sempewa, your parting shots as we finish this conversation. How do you encourage Ugandans to use this toll system and also continue enjoying the Entebbe Express Highway? Because people are scared that you're making them pay double taxation.
Yeah, it's actually not. It's an arrangement, like I said, being that has actually been implemented in several other countries. People who have actually traveled have witnessed this service. It comes at a fee, and the government of Uganda is saying, okay, you need this service. Our resource envelope is quite constrained, but let us partner, let us work together. But also, if you're unable to use it, I'm also maintaining the other old road as an alternative in case you're unable to use the Kampala Entebbe Expressway. But I cannot guarantee them 100% service reliability, because we have a contractor who is tested, experienced, has worked elsewhere, and has brought that expertise here to train Ugandans, but also to give you that reliable service that you need, so that you can use the Entebbe Expressway without stress, hassle-free, and you enjoy the other numerous benefits of the Kampala Entebbe Expressway. So let's use it, let's embrace it, but also drive safely on that road. It's very important.
All right. Well, Yunra, talking about the Kampala Entebbe Express Highway, this is just a sneak peek of the conversation, but a deeper conversation is going to be coming through this evening on UBC from 8:30 to 9 p.m. and the topic is the Kampala Entebbe Express Highway and its charges, but also its benefits. We're going to be hosting Rebecca Abonyo, who's a senior highway engineer with UNRA, and also Laurent Charles Niklaus, who is the general manager Aegis Road Operations in Uganda, for more details. So that's a talk show coming through. If you want to know more about the Entebbe Express Highway, 8:30 p.m. this evening, do join us. Now, of course, our poll question, some of you have gone to the polls and given us response to what you do believe in regards to but some people asking questions. Meanwhile, will they give my car free repair if it breaks down?
We give you the incident management. Allows us to actually give you a tow truck. That we actually evacuate you and put it in a safer lane until your mechanic actually comes. But we also help you. We help you. If we can actually enable you actually jump start it, the teams actually come in to help you and probably off the road. At no cost? At no cost. Like, at entirely no cost.
Like they will not say, hey, but manager, we have helped you, Kintu Kidogo.
No.
Okay, in case Kintu Kidogo exists, where do people report?
We've actually asked that people actually report to UNRWA as well. Actually, if you've interfaced somebody actually asking for some money, please report to UNRWA and we'll take it up.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. In response to science and innovation, of course, that's a good innovation on the roads in Uganda. Good morning. I'm Kamanzi Christmas from Bara. I think government should provide direct grants for R&D compared to tax incentives. Government grants, often to university researchers, can target projects that are likely to have the most long-term benefits. Research shows that grants to academics in turn results in more patents filed by private firms, and however it's tough to track the impact of grants since it's possible that private R&D funding would have stepped up its absenteeism. All right. Well, Mollen Kenyana is here, and she ends our 8 o'clock hour, our 7 o'clock hour with a weather, nature, and climate update. For those of you that are rooting for Uganda Cranes to get the 3 points, kudos to you. Alan,
Yes.
what's your prediction?
Oh yes, Uganda is winning. Uganda is taking it.
Okay.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
I wish the Uganda Cranes the best, really.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mollen Kenyana, over to you.
Yes, there is a lot of positivity, and also like what Alan has talked about, being safe on the road. And I want to commend UNRA for one thing they have done on the Entebbe Expressway. They have put indications or those road signs whenever it is raining that says you have to slow down here during the rain, and that is one thing I want to commend UNRA for doing, because that road, there is a lot of twists on that road. So for them to have to indicate that, is also goes out to you, the drivers. Whenever you see those signs that says slow down during rain, please do follow that. But well, we'll have more updates in terms of our COP26. Well, the outcomes that did come out yesterday from COP26, that is the ongoing climate summit in Glasgow. We have seen more of the ambitions coming up, but for the first time yesterday, we did see them making a declaration, the COP26, a declaration on the aviation sector. Now, in this, we look at the international climate change summit, looking at most of what can be done in terms of aviation. Well, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen at least there being a few cuts within carbon dioxide emissions that have been going on. Now, this was in terms of the fact that there was less flights, and a lot has to do with the carbon print for that period of the year. But soon as the aviation sector was opened up, we again saw the carbon emissions going up. So there is need, obviously, for them to do something. Now, yesterday, through the International Aviation Climate Ambition Coalition, they did agree to a lot of things. Now, this coalition is party to 2 agreements. Now, one is the Paris Agreement, which was agreed upon in 2015 in Paris, France, and the other is the Chicago Agreement. Now, the Chicago Convention was in 1944, which was also geared towards cutting carbon emissions. Now, this coalition says that with the 2 parties, they are willing to work together to make sure that they have ambitions, they put ambitious strategies to make sure that there is reduced carbon dioxide emissions in terms of flights that are going on. Now, they did also pledge to work with ICAO, which is the International Civil Aviation Organization, to make sure that all the targets that have been put by ICAO are followed by all the aviation sectors. And that is something that we are really looking forward to, because these flights are not going to stop anytime soon, so we need to find a way to curb that gap. But also coming through was, in yesterday's highlights, was the fact that China has teamed up with the US to make sure that they come up with an agreement and have more talks in terms of reducing carbon emissions. Well, these are 2 of the world's greatest emitters. And when you talk about that, that means they are contributing more to the effects of climate change. So China has been hesitant, and earlier when we were starting the first week of COP26, they did refuse to actually put their signature on some of the agreements that were being made, especially in terms of coal production. But now, we did see the president of COP26 coming up to confirm this, that was agreed that the US will be in talks with China to make sure that they have more ambitious goals to cut carbon emissions, and we can also look forward to more of those. But talking about extreme weather events, we have reports of extreme rainfall across the southern states of India, that is across Nadil Nabu, which is looking at mostly flooding, severe flooding. Now, according to the BBC report, it shows that this city, which is Chennai, that is the state's capital, has not seen this kind of flooding since 2015. And already the same report from BBC is connecting this to climate change, having had extreme weather events across India, but now for the first time they're looking at something above the ordinary since 2015. And so far, 5 people have died from this severe flooding across India. And we still more look at most of why are these rains coming in at this time of the year. Unfortunately, also a contribution from the infamous monsoon winds for this time of the year. So usually, yes, this contributes to rains across Asia, and India and Sri Lanka are usually the most hit, but now we are starting to look at things that are above records, and this is definitely a lot of connection to climate change. Some of the pictures there coming through from what was happening across Chennai in terms of flooded roads, and also some of the homes that were flooded. So that is really devastating news coming there after losing 5 people from these floods. But well, this morning we'll go ahead and take a look at the weather over our country. Thankfully, we're not having more rains across the country, so no floods. But I can tell you, we do also see mostly northwestern Uganda today picking up some rainy conditions, but those will be over a few places. Now, already what is taking place right now, we're seeing sunny skies across parts of the Karamoja region, completely sunny actually. From that grey color, you can see that there is just clear skies, indicating that there is mostly sun coming through with no interruption of clouds. Now, the system that is most likely to be bringing a few rains across northwestern Uganda is the one in deep yellow to green, but it looks like it's also moving away, so that is going to clear for sunny intervals as the morning also continues. Now, we do have some green color across southwestern Uganda towards parts of Mbarara, Rubirizi, Bushenyi there, but that is also just bringing in a few rains. They won't be noticeable across several places, and it seems like it's also dissipating. It is moving away, so that might also mean that we are in for sunny intervals for southwestern Uganda as well as Kabale Highlands. But for Kampala, we're also seeing a little bit of clouds starting to develop, but we did start off with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions across most areas. Central Uganda, across the eastern parts of the country, Midwestern, we are looking at mostly sunny weather for this morning. Now, it looks like we've had actually reduced wet weather activities for the past 2 days across most areas. But well, for this morning, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our forecast for different areas across the country. Well, we'll start off with Central Lake Victoria Basin, where we have Mukono, Kampala, Entebbe and Wakiso, where we are forecasting intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. We already have that sun coming through, but that is also starting off with a warm 27 degrees centigrade. Now, looking at Central Northern Uganda, where we have Jumani, Gulu, Kitgum, Padel, we are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, looking at starting off with a warm 29. That is quite warm for that area, and we're going to be looking at 30s later in the afternoon. Well, for eastern Uganda, for the eastern part of Central, where we have Ruwero, Wobulenzi, Bururi, Nakaseke and Nakasongola, we're forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine. We do have a warm 28 starting off that morning, but we're also likely to have a few showers later in the afternoon for that area. Now, eastern Uganda, for Soroti, Katakuya, Moria and Kumi, we're forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, also starting off with a warm 28 degrees centigrade, and that is also likely to go up as we're expecting sunny intervals even later. Now, the eastern parts of Lake Victoria, where we have Tororo, Busia, Iganga, Jinja, we're forecasting also intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, starting off with a warm 28, and most likely that will also continue into the afternoon, so you are in for a warm day over there. Now we look at Mount Elgon Highlands, where we have Mbale, Bududa, Buko, Sironko. We're also forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine. We already have sunny skies right now, but we'll have those intervals of cloudy conditions coming through, starting off at 26, but we could be looking at a few rains later in the afternoon across that Elgon area. Now, southwestern Uganda, we have Mbarara, Ibanda, Bushenyi, Rubirizi. Well, that system has already started to clear off, and that will be clearing into intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions for this morning, starting off with quite a warm 27, but also that area could be seeing light rains later in the afternoon. Now, it looks like we have reduced wet weather activities, and we could be looking at warm weather for now, but also later in the afternoon. So it's times like this that you actually want to keep your water bottle close to you, because there is a lot of sunshine and heat, so you have to stay hydrated. Well, I'll leave you at that this morning. We do have Good Morning Uganda agenda coming up, and Robert will be here And of course, more excitement as we look at the Uganda Cranes team. And I know Ruben is excited about it too, but he will be here to give us more details about the lineup. I know the coach has already given out that, his men who are we starting with. But more on that, we'll have Ruben take us through, and later we'll have Good Morning Uganda Extra. Well, my name is Molin Kenyana. I want to wish you a pleasant morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by
Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
After bringing Kigali to its knees on energy ship to Nairobi, nothing brings out the true picture of a football derby like the Mijingo Derby. It's a derby that leaves many desiring for more. And oh yes, this is the time that the question that is frequently asked will be answered. If you own the water, we own the land. And all this will be sorted out on the 11th of November 2021 at the St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. Join us live on UBC TV free to air and radios as we bring you action after action as the two bulls fight and we sit back and relax at the comfort of our homes. UBC TV and radios, your home of sports.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co Uganda, Office of the President.
Kagalino twalekedde ekyatulese tuzze tukalanga enfunda eziwerako ddala eno yego TV Super eyabakaguje njagala wekaanyi ewatali kwemamaaza olwo tuba tusimbudde ne Go TV Super dupa wawawa era nga bakutuusyako ekiga ekyabakabejja abasajja eŋŋwaŋŋuli kwogata ne busineema obujjudde omuhabati ku mitwalo 5,015 wawawa soka blaza weefunye ekirungo kya Go TV Super ekijjudde obulungi ove mu baaje.
Introducing Learn From Home Data Bundles. Customized bundles for you and your family to study or work seamlessly from the comfort of your home. Use any of these affordable data bundles to connect to your MiFi, routers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones while avoiding unwanted internet exposure and ensuring undivided attention during online classes. Enjoy instant access to Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and selected educational websites. Dial *175# to buy your Learn From Home bundle today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to English in a Minute. This expression sounds like a guessing game about food.
Jonathan, I can't find anyone to watch my cat while I'm away. And I have asked everyone.